Today we are here to mourn the loss of a recent friend. For those of you who remember my Youthberk, the previous Fullblast deck profile, links description, we talked about how Roridore, or Nier as we affectionately call her, has saved the deck from becoming pure jank to having a consistency thanks to being able to take cards out from the damage zone, and that's how we came up with the idea that now you can finally play 1/1/1 of each Revolform and that it would be completely okay. But given that we have recently rebuilt our entire deck from scratch and now the entire existence of Youthberk has changed forever, we have to say goodbye to Nier. So Nier, thank you for your service. Please enjoy your long needed retirement. Now we will introduce someone back into the fold who has left us for a long time, a certain someone we've captured back from, a certain veterinarian. Today we ask ourselves, can we rebuild this deck, or will the deck force us to stop existing? Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Mr. here. Today I am back. Welcome to DZ BTO8, the Knights of Zero or Zero ERO. If I am just gonna say straight away, just right off the bat, some of you will be wondering what is this deck about. This is the deck with exists inside. It's built around exists. It's for exists, by exists, with exists, non-exists. But if you want to play Fullblast, because there are people out there who suddenly now swear by Fullblast is the greatest thing on earth, I've not forgotten you. My channel memberships, for those of you who have been loyally following, I have put this month's members list to be Fullblast with exists inside. So if you guys want that option for some strange reason, join me as a channel members. Every month you get one exclusive list that I don't do a deck profile for, because those are lists either too expensive for me or nobody actually wants them. But I figured this time I would do this for this deck because enough of you would ask about Fullblast. Because, my previous Fullblast video did surprisingly well, to the point that I was like, wait, am I a Fullblast player? And today, because we're all asking ourselves, are we really Fullblast players? Today we have Fader Forth.
I hate Fullblast.
You hate Fullblast?
I hate Fullblast.
I almost asked M Crafter to join us because he won Fullblast in a tournament recently, but I was like, I'm gonna ask him to talk about Draconic Overlord instead. Anyways, let's talk about this. So overall, I think just the brief overview of this deck is that it can be really easily said that the right line is a vast improvement over the previous one. So any way that you build Youthberk, you should pick up this right line 100,000 million %. The grade 3 is 50-50. It depends on if you want the discard synergy or not, or if you want the Sequana or not. We'll get into it. Other than that though, everything else about this deck in terms of deck building is a toss-up. I think the Youthberk community has to dump it out for at least a month to think about how they want to build this deck before, with enough tops from WGPs, we know what the real Youthberk deck looks like. I know this sounds pretty weird. That's probably why this video is also coming out later. But you will need time to rebuild this deck, literally, because the whole existence of this deck is very strange. It plays on a completely different axis from what Youthberk has known. It's trying to force you into this one and done exist strategy where you just bind the guy, loop the guy, kill the guy on turn 4. But like, is that really the way to play Youthberk? I don't know. But today, we will build the deck with that in mind. Okay, so any other deck list that you're interested in, the Fullblast one I'll do for my channel members, links description. But if you are interested in building your own deck for Youthberk, just do it. I know there's too many Youthberk players. I can't argue with all of you. Okay, I can't do it. I really can't. So the right line is very simple. Right line is any Keter starter is fine. You can play the new Youth starter, then it's fine. You can play the old starter, that is fine. None of the cards in the new right deck state you need to play the original or new starter, so anything's fine. We've chosen this starter because
I have a 4 already.
Okay, wonderful. Grade 1 is Knight of Square Streaks.
Yeah, Squire or Spear Streaks.
Spear Streaks Youth.
Yes. So it's just, it actually is just a very similar to the original grade, like Ardent Light. It's a Knight of Ardent Light Youth from all the way back in the 2022 trial deck. So basically his skill is when this unit is rolled upon the grade 2, which is Sorrowful Ardent Light Youth, you Soul Blast 1, you look at the top 5 cards of your deck and you choose one card and reveal it, and you do the following. Either you put it into hand if it's a card that mentions, there's a card that is a Youthberk in its name, so either your Persona Right or your Revolforms, or if it's a grade 2 or less unit, then you call it. So it's very simple. Almost exactly the same as the original grade 1, except now you look at top 5 instead of top 3 and you
Which is a huge improvement.
and you get to shuffle, so that means that you don't lose your triggers as well.
Yeah, and that means if you tuck a card back to the bottom deck, you cannot shuffle it.
Yeah, you can shuffle
Yeah, so
it.
it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
So Selgaon, win.
I mean, he lost his plus 2k, but
Who cares, bruh?
yeah.
The grade 2 is Sorrowful Ardent Knight Youth.
which is
so
it's honestly he's the biggest upgrade this entire deck will ever get, which is the.
he's grid shade on legs and he somehow became edgier.
I mean, it really is the same. They are really going back to the original 2022 right line, except they're just giving it better cost.
Vast improvement.
So Sorrowful Ardent Light is almost exactly the same as the original grade 2, which is that when he's ridden on top, which is ridden upon by a unit with the Rebel Dress ability, so either can be the original Skyfall Arms or Skyfall Arms Rebuild.
Or Proto Forms.
Yeah, Revolform Arms. Then you may Energy Blast 3 and you choose a grade 2 or greater card from your drop and you put it into your hand. So either it can be a grade 2 that you discarded earlier in the game, you intercepted with it, or it can be your Persona Riot, your Revolform, anything that's grade 2 or greater, as long as it's a unit card, you can add it back to hand.
So basically, you now can 2-box the entire drop zone for grade 2 or greater once in a game for just DB3.
Yes.
That is insane. That means any of your early game aggro that you throw out or intercept or guard or use a discard fodder, everything is on the table to be looped again. The only card you physically cannot loop is either, you know, the invincible ultimate Selgaon or, you know, Corino. But other than that, everything else is on the table for looping.
Yes.
That is mad. That is mad. I want to talk to whoever designed this, right? Like, I need to shoot you out back.
You should talk to whoever designed the right line in 2022.
No. He gave me Majesty of Blaster. I'm forever grateful. Our grade 3 is the Rebuild.
Yes.
Youthberk Skyfall Arms Rebuild. For those of you wondering, why is this a silver rare? We cheated a guy. Yeah, so thanks bro. Anyways, tell us what it does.
Yeah, so it is both an upgrade and a sort of like side grade to the original Skyfall Arms in that the way they Rebel Dress is now one of two ways. So he still keeps the Rebel Dress clause, the Rebel Dress ability clause, so that at the end of the battle that he attacks, you choose a card from your hand with the Rebel. You choose a card from your hand with the Revolform name and you ride it as 10 and you lose 2 drives. Or it actually has an alternative for Rebel Dressing is that you may choose a Revolform from your drop and ride it as 10 and then lose 2 drives. But for you to do that, you must pay 1 Counterblast.
So the one from hand is free.
So if you Rebel Dress from hand is free, if you Rebel Dress from drop, then you must pay 1 Counterblast. So this automatically makes Youthberk like much smoother to play because now you no longer have to clock your hand with a bunch of grade 3s unless you see that your opponent is damage denying you. So usually you will just keep your very first Rebel Dress to be one from your hand, and then for the rest of the game, the rest of your Rebel Dress will all be from the drop zone. So because you can't afford to use the loss, he is basically just the only card that uses Counterblast in this entire deck. And
basically, yeah.
yeah, so that's basically what Skyfall Arms is meant to do. And then his auto ability is that when you do Rebel Dress on top of him, yeah, so let's say you Rebel Dress Tempest, you may choose a card from your hand and discard it, and then you set the Rebel Dresses drive, the Rebel Form's drive to 1. So basically, Rebuild has Sequana built into him, so you cannot combo Rebuild together with Sequana to get twin drive on all of your Rebel Forms, because they basically share the same skill. So now Rebuild has Sequana built in.
Build the Sequana into the card.
But instead of giving you a soul, you now just straight just -1. But obviously that then synergizes with all the cards that have discard synergy in Youthberk. So you know Corridor works. What was his name? Exalt Dragon also works as a card you can discard and then call as a booster. And Rebel Dress does count for Exalted Dragon's ability if you wanted to know is that so long as because your Vanguard is placed by card ability, so that activates Exalted Dragon's effect. Or you can use, or your Boomer, you can use Wayward Therapy Angel.
Yeah, but
and his last effect is that continuous when you would ride this card on top of a Rebel Form, the Rebel Form gets bound instead of staying in your soul. So this will be important for later when we discuss exist, but for now, basically it just means that you no longer can play as greedy or so as you used to be able to. Because previously Youthberk
Can just keep the guy in soul.
used to be able to like basically generate like 3 soul, like 2 soul every turn, because your Sequana will give you 1 soul and your Revolform will go back to soul. So
then you can play VD to
yeah, you can play cards like Reedy, you can play cards like Catwala, you can play a lot of things that just like spam, use all of your soul and then just like kill your opponent with like.
Not anymore.
Yeah, so sadly you can't do that anymore, but then it just having not needing to play Sequana anymore does give this deck a lot more space to work with, and it also makes it more flexible. But the one thing that this card is obviously missing that you normally are used to seeing for Youthberk is his main phase call.
Yeah.
He has no main phase call.
He has no main phase call.
He has no way to discard a card from your hand
to top 3.
Even if it was just like discard from card from your hand, you gain 5,000 power. It's like he doesn't even have that.
Yeah, he don't have
So there's no way for you to block Corino in the main phase. Lua is completely out of the deck. Poor Nier is out of the deck. And basically like cards like and he also has anti-synergy with a lot of the Fullblast support because the Revolform no longer goes to soul, it now just goes to bind. So stuff like Fergosa is also out. So basically you just gutted like almost every single like Youthberk card that came out in the 2023 and 2024.
Which is why they rebuilt the deck.
Yeah, so it's frustrating but also like
it's frustrating in a good way. This is not like the Vajula card rebuild where you go, what the hell is this game plan? This is, we give you the stuff to play a new game plan. But the stuff you're comfortable with, you gotta say goodbye.
Yeah, so it's a much more all-in-one package in terms of the actual like aggressive part of the deck.
Yeah.
But they obviously made it much less like secure and simple to be able to play. So you will run into hand size issues with this deck because you're gonna be constantly having to call rear guards from your hand, or you have to rely on other superior call abilities. But
that's fine because you kill the guy before you run out of hand.
yeah, that's the goal, is to try and kill on turn 4. But
and we'll show you how.
Yeah, okay.
Upgrade trees. 1 Tempest. This is a funny tech slot. You can choose not to, but I feel like at this point it's really good for the mirror. If you generally fight another Youthberk player, you want Tempest to kick him back on the down foot, then you can Exhisto and seize his existence once and for all. This is your main finisher. 4 Exist, 1 in the right deck, and 1 Fire Regalis. I've talked about the Fire Regalis a million times, so I'll just put the Fire Regalis video link description. All you need to know is that this guy is something you can discard away for free, which Youthberk needs to discard for drives. And then not only that, it can also generally build a board for you by removing itself from draw.
And also, Fire Regalis is the only way that you can actually block Corino in the main phase. So if you need to unbreak yourself, you can use the Fire Regalis to get a Corino from top 5 if you're lucky.
Yeah, so use this wisely. Don't use this carelessly. Tempest, I've already explained. Youthberk, I mean, we know what this does, right? So now, for the main reason why this deck exists.
So Youthberk Revolform exists is the main Revolform that this deck is based around of. It's the only Revolform that you really will need to go into because it's a very all-in-one sort of like card and strategy.
Yeah.
So Exist basically says that when you Revol dress into him, he has a lot of effects, but the only effect that actually costs anything is the first one, which is Energy Blast 3, and you may choose one of your rear guards and stand it. So that's basically just it. It's just when placed, EB3 stand a rear guard, which basically turns Youthberk from a 4 attack deck into a 5 attack deck because
wonderful.
Yeah, because you restand a rear guard and you also get another Vanguard swing, which is coming in with an extra drive check because now you have
Rebuild's ability, which would have changed your drive back to 1.
Yeah, and the rest of Exist effects are all completely free. So
disgusting.
Originally, when you first Revol dress into him, if you have nothing in your bind zone, so you have no Revolform in your bind zone, then he gains tank. He gives the front row.
If he has nothing in his bind zone.
Yeah, if your bind zone doesn't have any Revolform, he just gives 10k to the flat 10k to the front row, which is basically just a persona, right? Yeah. Which is not bad, but it can be shut down by a defensive. So if you're unlucky, then the boops.
You deserve it.
But if there is a Revolform in the bind, so it can be any Revolform, it can be Fullblast, it can be Zest, Gas, Tempest, whatever. You give 20k to your front row, so there's 2 persona, right? Basically, for absolutely free. For completely free, you just get 2 persona rights. And to add the cherry on top of the sundae, if himself is in the bind zone,
that means you have the second copy of Exist.
So so that means that you have Rebel Dress exist once, and then or you find a way to put Rebel exist into the bind zone before you Rebel Dress into him. Then as soon as you Rebel Dress, not only do you gain 20k to the front row, he himself gains a crit.
Yeah. On top of the already mentioned,
which is very very typical of Youthberk's first Revolform is to gain a crit, because Zaz gains a crit, Fullblast gains a crit, then Exist gains a crit, but of course it's turn 4.
Well, I have good news for you. If you fight an opponent who somehow gives you cards to bind, then you win the game.
Yeah.
Alright, because on turn 3, if you can use the whole effect, no human survives that. No human survives that. Other than that though, you just have to write out Youthberk through its natural course. You may be wondering, how do I bind this card? Well, that's true. Rebuild, right? So Rebuild will help you bind it, but in exchange, you must dedicate to using Exist twice in a row.
Yeah.
The first Exist will give you plus 10k to the front row and 1 restand. The second Exist is going to come in even harder. 20k to the front row, 1 restand, and 1 crit. So no matter how you do it, the main idea is that this guy is the crux of the deck. As long as you want to play a deck focused around Exist and Rebuild, you have to play for Exist, because like this is the only way your firepower comes through. The entire rest of the deck I will be covering, you will notice they are powerless. All they do is just give you advantage and build themselves on the board. Exist is just meant to pile up as a 1-card finisher to everything. So generally in building Youthberk, players will choose different methods to build their advantage, either through Caterpillar, either through other generics, either through King of Knights Alfred. They will find some nonsense as way to build this deck and then just end on Exist. Okay?
Yeah.
So whatever happens after this point in the video timestamp is completely subjective.
Which is why there's a lot of builds that are playing the Fullblast variant of it, because technically the crit is not the important part of this. The crit, the important part is that it's a
The restand.
plus 20k to the front row and a restand, which is why your first going into Tempest on the very first great return actually is pretty good, because if you don't know what Revolform Tempest does, is that when he's placed on the Vanguard circle for the Revol Dress ability, your whole front row gains 5k, so automatically he makes everything a better magic number.
Half a persona, right?
Yeah, so but it's not as good as Exist, so which is why if you want to be aggressive, you still just go for Exist.
Yeah.
He has the second effect, which is much stronger, which is that counterblast, which is that, and then after you gain the 5k, you may counterblast 1 and reveal the top 2 cards of your deck, and and then you choose one of your opponent's rear guards that is the same grade as one of the cards that you just revealed, and you can bot deck it. So it gives Youthberk some control as well, but that is a very minor thing, because you're gonna probably go into this early game, or if you're on the back foot, to try and claw back a lot of advantage. Because draw 2 is draw 2.
Draw 2 is draw 2. Yeah. So ideally, you know the difference between Exist and Tempest, because these are the only 2 real Rebel forms you play for this deck.
Unless you play the Fullblast.
Unless you play the Fullblast variant. But other than that, this is the way forward for this.
Yes.
But everything else in this deck from here on out is completely subjective. And I will prove that to you with the Great Tools. The Great Tools, we play this guy in the right deck. We've already mentioned him before, so say hi, guy. Then we have 3 Veltrosa, 1 copy of Maple, and 4 copies of the Keter Sanctuary Rainbow Gay Cycler. This is the one for the Persona Shield ticket, and that is about it. For those of you wondering, Amiz, why are you not playing this card? You have been warned. You have been warned, okay? That video is coming. So, let's just cover it real quick. We've already covered the Grade 2 right line, so I will not need to discuss this again. Veltrosa, we've talked about this on the Welshra video, we've talked about this on at least one other video on this channel. Yeah. Basically, Veltrosa is a stronger Kybre. You just CB1 when placed on the Vanguard circle.
Outside of the battle phase. Outside of the battle phase, and you must be placed on hand.
And you can tap 1 card from your drop zone. Not one normal unit.
One normal unit. No, it doesn't need to be a normal unit. It can be any card that is not a trigger unit and not a sentinel. You can put it back. Yeah, so set. You can put back set order. You can put back regular orders. You can put back units. Yeah.
And then after you do that, if you want, you can counterblast 1 with the top 5 cards of that. Choose 1 card, same
and reveal it, and you reveal it. Yeah, if it's a unit, if it's a unit that is great equal to or less than your Vanguard, you may call it. And if it's a order card that is not a regalis, you add to hand. So you can add Elementaria to this. You can add any order card you want from this, except a regalis piece.
The idea is this guy is just Kyber. That's the joke. The whole joke is that this is Kyber. 1 Maple, as we mentioned before, Youthberk tends to jump around his grade 3 forms very much the same time just to breaking the rock and hopefully break your opponent's spine. But the issue is that you don't really have many units on board. So we are playing 1 to 2 Maple to really help us build the board. I understand this is the exact same argument I gave for the Luat video, but Keter decks don't vary a lot, okay? Like, yeah, come on. And then last but not least with this one.
Yeah, so this is Luviron.
Luviron.
So Luviron's effect is the same as every single persona ticket cycler, which is that when he's placed from hand or he's discarded for the cost of the right deck exclusively, so only from the right deck discard, you may Soul Blast 1 and reveal either from your Vanguard circle or your right deck a grade 3, a persona right possessing grade 3, and then you can add the persona shield ticket to your hand. So the persona shield ticket in all intents and purposes is a 10k shield, but if your opponent has a G zone, it's a 15k shield.
Wow, poor Nairo.
So basically, the thing about it is just you Soul Blast 1 and you can get a 15k shield. You basically not only do you get a 5k intercept, you also get a 10k shield.
Oh, okay, that's
yeah. So it's better than Spiral QT and Biscotti in that sense because the unit stays on the because you get a unit out of it, because he also has a second ability which is generic amongst all the Rainbow Persona Shield cyclers, is that when he attacks a grade 3 unit, he gains 5k until the end of battle. That's it. He just gains flat 5k for free for just attacking a grade 3. So
yeah, it's alright.
But the problem is that because exists multi attacks before the Vanguard swings, almost all of your power gainers that Youthberk used to have, besides Daldelit, which is the new what was intended to be the best attacker for the deck, now doesn't work anymore. Because they all need because Shanizel is basically the same as Daldelit, it's the same argument.
Yep.
But he doesn't gain stacking 5k. Daldelit does gain stacking 5k.
Yes.
And Fergosa needs you to Rebel Dress when she gains the 5k.
Which is wrong interval.
Yeah, so Luviron is the only good Keter grade 2 that not only has discard synergy, which is good for you, but not only does it have Soul Blast synergy, which is good for you, but which we'll discuss later on, which is for one of the most important cards for this deck. But he also gains 5k, so it's a solo attacker going second against your opponent's grade 3 Vanguard, which gives him automatic synergy with Exist.
Yep, and I know some people say, why not just play default? This is not order fault.
Yeah, the problem with default is that you are locked into playing orders, and the right line doesn't help you search for orders, unlike Rezael, unlike Alden, which actually helps you find orders. This deck doesn't. It's just all unit based, so you just play all units. You just beat the opponent. You don't bother with orders. Yeah.
And that's about it.
Yeah. So Luviron is not bad because he's a very good attacker, unlike Spiral QT, but he also gives you he also guarantees that you get free 10k shield.
Upgrade ones, we have this guy again.
Yeah.
The King Cell Gaon. Did you guys like the Bandits video? I have no idea who actually watched the Bandits video. Let me know if you watched the Bandits video. I'm curious to know. 2
Topaz.
Crystal Beast.
Yes.
4 perfect cards want to stay alive. 3 Sfilt. And 4 copies of the best Youthberk card ever printed, Corridor.
Yeah, so Spear Strix is the new grade 1. Just play the new grade 1. It's a lot better than the old grade 1. Then because we go into Corino, so Corino is a very, 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 very important card. I genuinely think that if you cannot get your hands on Corino, this is not the deck for you. Don't bother. Just play Auden. Just play like MLB or whatever. Just play any other Keter deck.
Play PBO.
This is like the only in-engine that has stayed alive for every version of Youthberk ever since 2023.
At 4, mind you.
Yeah. So why do we say this is the most important card ever? Because Corino's effect is when this card is discarded, or when this card is placed on the rearguard circle from deck only, so only from deck, you search your entire deck for one Revolform, add it to hand. And then you choose a card, any card from your hand, and put it into soul.
Yep.
Yeah. So you can put the Fire Regalis into soul, and then Soul Blast it out with Luviron, or you Soul Blast it out with the right line. You put Maple into soul, you Soul Blast it out with the right line, or you Soul Blast it out with Luviron. So you understand why Luviron now is so important, is because we need fast Soul Blast in this deck so that we can abuse Corino as much as possible to basically just like farm free advantage into soul and then out of the soul that we can use later on. So because this has a drop zone effect, this has a drop zone effect. All of your Rebel forms technically have a drop zone effect because of rebuild. So it basically just gives 100% synergy to any card that you put into Soul now has 100% synergy thanks to Rebuild and thanks to the card choices that we made. Unless you get a lot of these other great ones which you really don't want to be putting into Soul. But other than that, you're very, very free to just put whatever you want for Soul and then just basically just you're off to the races. You just guaranteed your win con because you just added a Revolform to your hand.
It's just that easy.
Yeah, or you can put the Revolform to drop also and you can also use it
for Rebuild.
Yeah, so Corridor is very, very, very important. You must have Corridor
At 4.
to play this deck. Yes, at 4.
Okay, I can cover the rest. This is all pretty easy. Sfield is just a back row restander, which is when you're
When you
Revolform.
No, it's just when you Revol dress.
When you Revolve dress, you just stand it unit.
Yeah,
You stand this in the center back row.
Center back row. So it's a 5k base grade 1, but it doesn't matter because unless it only really matters like going first because then your number is not as good.
Yeah,
but otherwise,
it's okay.
Every other scenario like it's basically just makes it 18 and after you restand, not only does your exist give 10k or 20k to the front row, you also have a 15k booster behind it. So your exist can go as high as like 58k, 2 crit. Yeah, so
it's insane. And you can pass triggers to the back row to ensure that your Vanguard will always get it no matter what. So it's really alright.
Yeah.
Generally, this card is a 2 to 3 off. We're playing at 3 off just to ensure we can kill people as fast as possible, which is the whole point of exist. But this one definitely is. It's earned its place in the deck if you ask me, but like it's not like a 4 off. No.
Yeah, the main reason why is because Sequana is cut out of the deck. Your center column really is very, very weak now. So that's why Sfield is very important, even though he has a very middling effect. Basically, like you just need to see one of him for the whole game, unless you fight Gandiva.
It's a she.
Yeah, no, she. Okay, so unless you fight Gandiva or you fight anything that has like board removal, then you have to keep replacing her. But otherwise, you just need to see one. The game rest, rest can just.
Even though Gandiva is tier 1 right now in Japan, you can just kill Gandiva.
Yeah, rest you can just toss. So it's like it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, so that's why I'm only playing at 3. Because if you see. If you don't, then.
Alright, 4 perfect guard. 4 perfect guard. It's very easy to talk about. It's perfect guard. You want to stay alive just till turn 4 and then kill your opponent. 4 Selgaon. We've talked about Selgaon already. He's just the goat. You're playing it even though you have no orders because you just want to rush people as fast as possible. You can proc this off early rush if your opponent is not Leonon, which is very good.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's just AK body. You can even just discard it if you don't want to see him anymore. Rezael can no longer get his hands on this guy, so you can enjoy all his money. It's really alright. Selgaon is just a cheap way to do it, but you can't really recycle off Selgaon, so do better at mine because it's not grade 2, so you can't trigger the skill of this guy. You don't get it. Other than that, it's alright. Okay, so just play any Keter generic you can get your hands on in this slot, but Selgaon's the best.
Yeah, and then we have Topaz. So Topaz, like we said in the Fullblast video, basically has 100% synergy with Youthberk because a lot of the stuff that you want to call is from deck, and you also can get
burn a lot of soul.
because you soul blast a lot in this version of the deck. Obviously now you don't soul blast with Virgosa, but now you soul blast with Luveron, you soul blast for the right line, so it's very easy to hit his condition without wasting soul. And the 20k shield is also obviously very good in a deck that usually doesn't draw a lot. So the fact that any card that you draw can give you more. The fact that the chance of you drawing a 20k shield is now even higher thanks to Topaz is now obviously very comforting for a deck.
And moving on to the grade zeros.
Okay, step away from youth. 4 use.
We're playing 4 heals because we want to stay alive.
I think for this meta, you might want to play the restand heal because there's a lot of decks that like not only your mirror is gonna be a lot of restand, Balsagra is a restand. I guess Blanky-Mire is also a restand. But Blanky-Mire also you might want to play the crit heal because of Blanky-Mire. It just depends on your.
It depends on your local shop. Just look around and see who's there, and then just a heals before you play.
Yeah.
Other than that, this is fine. 3 effect fronts. We want to kill people.
Yeah. So we gone back to the 20k shield front rather than the soul front because this deck doesn't need that much soul, but it does. And also you mainly just get a lot of soul anyway, so you just play the 20k shield.
8 crits. Sorry, 9 crits, and that's basically it.
Because you no longer need to like set up 3 cards in soul in order to win the game. You don't really need to play draws anymore. So that's why you can just play. You can go back to playing old Berk, which is just playing the regular alpaca effect front.
Yep.
Then obviously blue OT because you want to just kill the guy. So 9 crits very good.
9 crits very good.
Yeah.
And that covers it for our rebuild deck profile. Honestly, as you can see here, the list that we are trying is not a difficult list to play in that sense, right? Like it's really quite idiot proof. So you just play everything that gives you plus, everything that gives you advantage, everything that just either helps you kill people early or rush, and then you just top it off with a nice existence and just kill them. That's basically the whole deck right now. Honestly, I think it is a pretty good deck in this meta. The only issue is, like I said, there is no one real 100% correct way right now to build Youthberk. So everyone will be claiming they figured out the list, and everyone will be going online to try and top each other out and be like, oh my god, I solved it, and then they'll be like at tournaments every week. But that's alright. It's alright. We expect at least about a month before everyone decides on what the real Youthberk deck is. But I think no matter which version does come out on top, I'll say there will be a Youthberk that exists in this meta for at least till the end of the year, right? Like, I don't see this leaving. There's no way you print a guy that does all of this and go, no, it's not good enough.
It's very likely that he's gonna get one more Revolform at the end of the year.
I hope not. You don't deserve it. None of you deserve it. I'm serious. This, have you read this?
Yeah, I have read it.
If they make the next card unexist and it says when players lose the game, then I'll let you have it.
Sure, I'll take that.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't given us they've given us an orange, they've given us a blue, a green, and now then a grey, and then now they've given us a yellow. So the next one,
white, black, purple. It's a purple Revolform.
Yeah.
Revolform lean. So when plays, you and your opponent can both have a drink on the house.
Yes.
And then both of you leave.
Personally, I feel this version of the deck still feels very underbaked. It's just the fact that you're so reliant on being able to hit that turn 2 to 3 to 4 conversion in order to kill your opponent. Double exist is not even that dissimilar to Fullblast. But yeah, Fullblast has better rear guards because he has Focusa. He has a more consistent gameplay because of the 2023 and 2024 support.
Ready up.
And he also has ready up, and you also have decent finisher, which is that you have ready to actually like really pump power in the event that you really compress your deck.
Like our only power gainer is Phil at this point.
Yeah, so the problem is that this deck just does a lot of the regas just don't gain power. So if your first turn you hit a lot of blanks and your opponent hits one defensive, it really just the whole entire just aggro just like completely shuts down. So it's very, very common to see this deck just like flop completely and just like completely die because it cannot survive after turn 5.
Yeah, but that's really about all we can say at this point, right? I think now it's up to everyone else. Good luck everyone else playing this deck. Because we know you need it. And that's basically about it. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you all next time. You want to say anything?
Hey, breaking the rock.
Hey. No. The next Keter deck will be Alfred, I promise. It will be Alfred.